We got another bird here. A bird that we are hoping to shoot out of the sky, but well, after 4 interceptions, we don't know. We got to welcome to the show, die-hard Eagles fan, Jeremy Powers. What up, Jeremy?
What's up, guys? Hey, I tell you what, I enjoy your show. I really, it's a ton of fun to listen to. You guys are football junkies, man. That's just hard not to love. So it's just a ton of fun to get to hang out with you guys, talk a little smack. But I think we can all agree the Dallas Cowboys suck, right?
Yeah.
At least that together. So it is what it is. I don't mind when the Commanders win. I don't mind when the Giants win. I just love to see Dallas lose.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
See, now, so Sean, he's already living up to it. I told Sean before, I said, Jeremy is the nicest Eagles fan I've ever met. And that's a rarity in this world.
That's it. They need one of me. And the thing is, I'm Columbia, South Carolina, born and raised. I have no reason to be an Eagles fan, but Donovan McNabb. I remember picking up Madden. I remember trying to find my team. I sent you guys a photo earlier of Blitz the League, on Blitz, on Madden. Just Donovan McNabb was just, man, he was just special. And for me, players do that, like Brandon Roy. In the NBA, like he made me a trailblazer. I'm just a big, because we don't have professional sports here. We just have, you'll see behind me the Gamecocks, and that's about it. Who cares about Clemson? But at the end of the day, man, it's just players can do it. But man, I never. Oh, I see that. Okay, all right, I see that. I would tell you guys that I just jumped on the Eagles. Young, and man, no one cared. I would wear all this Eagles stuff and no one would care. Then we won a Super Bowl. It was like, oh, are you one of those bandwagon fans? I'd be like, that's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me, because we must be good if you're asking me those kind of questions.
Right. Well, you bring up, Donovan McNabb is who brought you in. And I can say this, Sean, I don't know if you feel the same, but I loved him as a player too. He was one of those guys that was like, he was so good, and you hated that you had to play him twice a year, and he played for a team you didn't like, because I just respected his play so much.
Yeah.
To the point when they traded for him, when the Redskins traded for him, I don't know if I've ever been more excited. I was way more excited about him than RG3. And it was just, I called up my buddy and I said, he's a Steeler fan. I said, for the first time in my life that we've known each other, we have a better quarterback than you do, And he was like, oh my gosh. And then McNabb just busted when Washington.
That's right.
So
it's rough. That curse of it's the Washington curse.
It was the Snyder curse.
I didn't mean to say all that. I'm just joking,
it was.
Guys.
It was. It's true.
There's truth.
Yeah. So we want to kind of talk about this Eagles team. Sean and I, obviously, as you say, we pay attention to the league. We certainly pay attention to the NFC East and look around. But we're not as dialed in and stuff. But so that's why we want to kind of hear your perspective. So you guys had an unbelievable year last year. Made it to the Super Bowl. Were plays away from winning it. You dominated teams on your way to the Super Bowl, especially the way you manhandled San Francisco, regardless of the fact that they were playing their running back at quarterback eventually. But what are the expectations this year? Is there a lot of pressure on this Eagles team to reproduce what you had?
I would say for me, the fact that, Jalen Hurts, and we'll talk about it a little bit how, his playing right now compared to last year, but whenever he makes his screensaver on his phone, the confetti falling, and it's not the color of his team, and that's what he looks at all off season, is his head bowed walking into the locker room with confetti that's not like you should be celebrating, but yet you're defeated. The way that he handled himself all off season, and the way that we really, I feel like, dominated the NFL draft when maybe we shouldn't have, because we were the first to lose. Right. We came in second place, so we should have had, but obviously we had some picks and all, but, I would say that the expectations are there. Who cares that we lost our defensive coordinator? We're just fine. Who cares the things that like that? We have the team, we have all the pieces. Kelsey didn't retire. You still got Fletcher Cox. You've added Jalen Carter, who is just an absolute monster. Nolan Smith. You've got, It is just absolutely insane what we have. So I truly believe that we should do amazing. I don't know if you guys remember last year, the first week of the season, we played the Lions, and we almost lost that game.
Yes.
And then we go on to be undefeated for a substantial amount of time and end up losing to you guys of all people, so you can ride high on that.
We haven't forgotten.
That game was the bane of my existence. I just felt sick for a week.
No more.
Yep, that's right. I know it was beautiful for you guys, So, and trust me, if I could be happy for anyone, I was happy for you too. So, because I know that had to be a great feeling. So, so ultimately for me, last year it was unexpected. This year it's almost like, hey, if you don't, it's kind of a bust because you didn't lose any pieces. You really reloaded.
Right. You said you guys won the draft. I mean, the amount of Georgia Bulldogs that you guys have added, and it's like it's not fair that you not only had Big Baby, and then the next year next time you get the other guy. It's like this isn't fair.
Yeah. Stay right there for a second because I know where Will lives. I know where he reps that Garnet. It's not red. It's Garnet. That's South Carolina, and I see you in the background with that. But how is it to get like literally the last two national championship defenses? Most of those main pieces on y'all's defense.
Mm-hmm. It hurts when we're playing them in college ball, but when they make it to your NFL team, you're a little bit more okay with it, So it's, college ball. So I just have to say, I don't think anyone in the NFL is Howie Roseman right now.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Like love or hate him. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Jerry Jones sold something to the wrong person, and he got, he tried to buy some, wins out of the back of somebody's, trunk of their vehicle, and it ended up not turning out for him. Howie Roseman found the right guy and bought the right stuff. You know what I mean? Because he is just absolutely on fire. And I think that it's cool that so many people are talking about him because usually they're always back in the shadows. Like, I can't even think of 3 other teams' GM. You know what I mean? But Howie Roseman has everyone talking because he is just absolutely a strategic chess player, and you're watching that play out.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, well, I'm going to ask, because you alluded to it earlier, and obviously staying in the SEC, you got your quarterback. Everybody gives this man a hard time. And I personally am kind of offended by it. Jalen Hurts has proven himself not only in the pros, but in my opinion in college. When he was at Bama, he was more of a mobile guy. He was more of a mobile quarterback. And in that national championship where they had to yank him for Tua, it's because the arm was not developed maybe like some other pro quarterbacks. He goes to Oklahoma. Saban tells him, you need to get with a guy that can work with quarterbacks. And we see him in the league. Obviously, the best player in the league last year was y'all doing a QB sneak with everybody pushing the pile.
The tush push.
Right.
We did it 3 or 4 times last week. The tush. I don't know why other people aren't copying it. The boy's got some thick thighs, I guess. He's just getting through it. So.
But I mean,
you can squat 600 pounds.
I get it that everybody wants to start tagging these guys. If you got some legs, they want to tag you as a running back. Talk to us about Jalen Hurts and that arm, that passing attack, because the run is great, but the pass is lethal.
Yeah. Well, so what I start with is actually not on the football field, except it just kind of leaks through, and that's his leadership capabilities. Yeah. You look at him in the national championship when he's pulled. Who's the first person high-fiving?
Absolutely.
The quarterback when he comes off the field.
Yes.
Who's the first one when a reporter says, hey, you're an Oklahoma guy? He reps Alabama. He reps Oklahoma. He's not here for the games. He's here to get better. And almost I feel like that's almost a little bit to his detriment right now. And like I said, we'll kind of talk about it, but if you look at him, his demeanor, there's A this and there's B that and he's just so calm and cool and collected because that's the persona that everyone's had for him. I feel like he's almost taken that on the field because it's his persona that's been created. He used to just go to work and no one looked, and now every light is on him. And so I feel like he's just kind of that calm and cool and relaxed guy in the pocket. And I feel like that's actually a little bit in a hindrance of us this season. I feel like, I hate to say this, but he's one of the pieces that I feel like is causing us to go a little bit slow this year. And that's just my opinion. But once again, his leadership, the ability, the way the team rallies around him, the way that he's like, hey, guys, I don't know if you guys have read a book called Extreme Ownership, but I love it. Jocko Willink is he's a military guy, and he just talks about if you take extreme ownership, then you can change the situation. Jalen Hurts does an amazing job of owning that and being that. And I think that's where it starts. I think that he's got an incredible arm. I think that he has incredible legs. I think he has a great vision for the game. But also, let's just be transparent. There were 2 or 3 times that pictures were taken when we were playing last week. DeAndre Swift had a hole the size of, it literally, all of Israel could have walked through that when the Red Sea was parted. It was parted, okay? I wish the Gamecocks could experience that kind of an offensive line for a few weeks. So it's not just Jalen Hurts. It's, once again, Howie Roseman has built a team. And you're getting to see people that are good look great because of a good, clean team.
Yeah. Well, it's Jalen Hurts. It's very similar to the McNabb situation with him, where it's like, God, I love this guy. I just can't stand that uniform that he puts on.
Mm-hmm.
When they did an interview last year, and it was Donovan and it was Michael Vick talking about being the quarterback in Philly and leading the city and who you can be from that and how much they love you. It was, you couldn't help but root for the guy. And you even see it there on the field too. He just goes out there and plays. Okay, so there's a celebration after a touchdown. Everyone's doing that. That kind of stuff doesn't bother me. He just goes out and plays ball. And like you said, he's the type of player out there that you're just like, dang it, I wish he was on my team.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the same way I felt as a college fan about Dabo Swinney. Like, being a Gamecock fan, it's like, why does that guy have to be the coach of my rival team? Because I'm going to be transparent. Like, he is such a great motivational speaker, a great players coach. He really cares so much about them after football. And I'm sorry, that kind of stuff to me is that's what is amazing about the sport, is true leaders to these men, because 95% of them will never see another snap when they're done. I'm like, why the hell does this guy get to be my rival's coach? Why can't he be like Washington State or something? And I can just be like, man, look at that cool guy. So I know how you guys feel when it comes to, luckily Washington's never had a quarterback, so I can't really compare it to I don't have a quarterback to get jealous about. So,
well, the good thing is, though, the more I hear from Clemson fans is they're seeing the same thing. They're like, gosh, Beamer, he's so we're starting to have some of that. But
you're 100% right.
Yeah, you brought up a really good point about Jalen and what the team that he came into. And the Eagles have focused on the line, the trenches, offensive and defense. But he's got a great offensive line, and they just said, we're just going to keep beefing that up and drafting guys and developing guys. They made some great shrewd moves to trade for an A.J. Brown, to give up a 6th-round pick for DeAndre Swift. Come on, Detroit. What are you doing? So they assembled this great team behind him. So he's got a lot of pieces to help him. But you mentioned they're running slower this year. And one of the things Philly was known for was quick plays and getting more and more plays than the other team gets an opportunity to, and not letting them substitute and get off the field. So you've got a new offensive coordinator. Yeah. How is that transition? You lost your offensive coordinator, you lost your defensive coordinator. How is the team transitioning?
Yeah, I would say defensively, I feel like we are just in a great spot. I truthfully do. Like, I wish that secondary once again could play for the Gamecocks, because we don't have a secondary, in college level, So, at the end of the day, for me, I really am not nervous at all about the defensive side of the ball, because they're getting pressure. They blitz enough. Our coverage, in my opinion, is pretty good. I mean, there's a few times that we'll give up here and there, but you can't be perfect. So the defensive side of the ball, I'm right now extremely good with. And even special teams, I truly believe we have one of the best kickers in the NFL. We have a stone cold killer, and I'm so thankful that you got him as a rookie. Like, think about when we got Jalen Hurts, how blessed we're. 2nd round. No one now believes that we got him in the 2nd round.
Right.
But a lot of teams passed him up. Yeah. I was so excited when we drafted him. But offensively, once again, I feel like the biggest struggle is that no one, and maybe that's a little bit of an offensive coordinator thing, but I feel like we're trying to be so calm, cool, collected. Leadership is just it's all about not, because if you're going quick and you're doing this, it almost seems like you're frantic. And it's like, no, you're just really good at that.
Yeah.
And so it almost just seems like they're acting like they deserve to be there, and that is actually hindering them right now. And so I would just like to see a little more urgency on offense personally as a fan. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it not only did you tire teams out by doing that, but you guys would just stay in this rhythm, and a lot of it had to do with the handoffs. And it was like, well, you couldn't stop us this time. Now we're going to do it again. Now we're going to do it again. And you were just wearing teams down on a drive by doing that. So I love hearing that Brian Johnson, your offense coordinator, kind of slowed things down.
Well, just watch the game this week and look, or even go back and look at tape. Look at Jalen Hurts in the pocket. He's just like he's calm, he's cool, he's there. And then all of a sudden, it's like there would have been one or two, but all of a sudden, then he just runs out and he gets maybe 2 yards, or he just gets sacked, because it's almost like he's just like, I'm good. I've got the best center in the game right in front of me. I've got this. I've got that. I think if you watch it, you're just kind of like, wow, like this isn't the guy. Luckily he's not doing what Joe Burrow's doing right now, or Daniel Jones is doing right now. Like, we're 3-0. Do we deserve to be 3-0? I truly don't believe it at all. I think that we, of the 3-0 teams, I believe that we are the least worthy of that, if I'm being transparent. Now, just as someone who's watched every play of every game, we are not the team that we were last year that was just lights out on fire. So I think for Washington, I don't think you're as scared as you were when you played us and beat us last year. Now, I sure as hell think that, trust me, they've had this game circled. They want to, and I would tell you that your quarterback better be nervous, because that defensive line can be fresh at all times, and I guarantee you they're going to give him hell. Yes. I think that our offense also being a little bit slower is what keeps our defense so fresh, though. Yeah. So it's almost like a tough thing, because there's been several times that we've gotten against, I forget who it was that we were playing, but the Patriots, I mean, obviously we went up big, and then they came back. And then the Vikings, we've made them muff like 2 punts. We got an interception or a fumble. Like, we should have been up by so much, but our offense never did anything.
Right.
And I think that you guys will see that when we play, that this is not the Eagles team from 2022 that honestly never should have been there, but they worked so hard to get there.
Yeah.
They deserved it towards the end of the season, but no one went in saying, man, I'm putting the Eagles to play in the Super Bowl.
Right.
No one did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even all the way up into the championship. But a lot of teams were still kind of like, San Francisco, they're a quarterback away. San Francisco, if they can just da-da-da. And the fact of the matter is, I think you're right, is you want to keep that defense healthy. So the offense is going a little slower. And I think this is going to be a defensive battle. Because actually, if you look at that first game that we played against y'all, we didn't score until late in the fourth quarter. Now, we had Carson Wentz at quarterback, obviously. But for most of that game, with the D that you had and those weapons, Devonta Smith torched us. Devonta Smith went off on us in the first game. A.J. Brown, you saw what he was able to do. So, it's hopefully it'll be a defensive thing. But at the same time, once y'all started running the ball last year, even in the game we won, we had to take a step back, because then you started flowing. Then you started getting going and everything like that. So my question, like, when we're going to play, it's going to be tough. We know how divisional matchups are. And I think you guys circled it. Obviously, Sam in his mind is saying, I need to be a lot better than I did against Buffalo. But when you're looking at this one, and let's get right into the preview of this game. When you're looking at this, what are some of the things, not necessarily keys, but what are some of the things that you're thinking, okay, we got to pick on this. We got to do that. I mean, obviously.
Perfect. And I'm going to dive right into that, but I don't want us to get off of this without, for a moment at the end, talking about the Giants and what they were last year and how everyone thought they were going to beat us in the playoffs. And they looked incredible, coach of the year, and then how their season has truthfully started. So I want to just put a pin in that, okay?
Sure.
But, man, I think what is going to do it for us this week is I don't know a better team, and it just blows my mind in so many areas. I feel like we're just stacked, even though it's not showing at the moment, even though we're 3-0. DeAndre Swift, Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott, and then Rashad Penny is your fourth back. That is mind-blowing. Any of these running backs could get quality time, in my opinion, on any NFL team. I mean, Penny is a little injury, but if he had never been injured, he's a featured back. Okay. And so you think about it, we had Darren Sproles and we had Miles Sanders, and we had all these people, and it's like, well, man, how do we keep freaking reloading? Like no one cares about Miles Sanders. I mean, once again, wish him all the luck in the world with the Panthers. But man, like DeAndre Swift has come in and he's a hometown kid.
Yes.
Like he literally woke up one day and his dreams came true. And to see him and to not freaking put him on my damn fantasy football team, excuse my language, but to know he was going to play in Philly and get to the waiver wire late, not get in, and then watch him go off. And literally, guys, this is a kid who woke up and he was in kindergarten and he was drawing Eagles and he was like, I want to be an Eagles player when I grow up. And dude, how cool is it? Even if you're a fan of the opposing team, to see somebody literally living out what they've dreamed of their whole career. Like, and man, and the smile, the excitement every time a coach or a reporter gets him, he's just like, I'm getting to talk. Like, is this real? Like, man, that gets me so excited. And I truthfully believe that his excitement is honestly, it's what gets the team to wake up and realize, like, hey, it's a new year. You know, like I think that it was so wise that happened. Looking back, I'm so thankful. But if our running game can get off to a good start and we can get that momentum and get hot, and Jalen Hurts doesn't have to once again feel like he has to be this poised and everything's on his shoulders, and he, I feel like when he feels like he can't make a mistake, that's when he does. And so I mean. Because he goes back to that fumble in the Super Bowl and says, I'll never let it happen again. But yet that same thing has happened 3 times this season already. You know what I mean? And so for me, I think that our running game is going to be a key. And then I think that our defense getting your quarterback pressured early and getting in his head. If we let you guys go down the field 1 or 2 times and you get going, you've got a quarterback that is in the NFL. Okay, he made it here. He's quality. Any quarterback can have a day. I mean, look at Dobbs went off against Dallas last week. I mean, who thought?
Look at Taylor Heineke last year. He had one day.
That's right. You get one day, and so that's the thing is that it could happen, and sometimes a team just has a day, and so I'm just going to say our defense is the lines. It's our O-line and it's our D-line. What can they do? Because we've got all the pieces. I don't know how good your secondary is. That's my thing is I don't know. Maybe we're going to have to switch it up and put the ball out there. We've got receivers that can catch.
Yes,
in my opinion, we've got a top 10 tight end in the league that nobody wants to talk about.
Right.
I mean, and so I just can't look anywhere on our team and not feel confident that we're ready to roll.
On paper. It absolutely is on paper. Let's go into our keys, and then once we finish up the Eagles segment, let's talk about those Giants.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know what segment this is. This is where we pick 2 things that we think are going to help us win in our keys to victory. So, as our guest, Jeremy, we will give you the first key, and we will all go around and give ours, and then we'll come back around to you. So, what is your first key to victory in the Washington versus Philly game?
I think it's going to come down to offensive line play. That's my first key. Is this going to be, can we create the same holes that we created last week and get our running game off to a good start?
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Well, what you think, man?
Well, I'm kind of going with that for Washington's sake with the offensive line. So they need to shorten the game in the same way they did last year in the victory. They had 49 rushes on the Monday Night Football game. And what that did was it kept Philly's offense off the field. That's important to do, especially since in the first game, they quick strike touchdowns on us, so that's very important. We've got the running back in B-Rob that is the possession style running back. So he went 10 carries for 70 yards. So let's double that. Let's triple that, let's let Gibson fumble the ball. And now he's going to be angry. Very early, let's give him a chance. If he starts to struggle, I know how to catch myself. Let's feed Chris Rodriguez then. He's the bruiser running back. Let's, when it is 3rd and 2 early on, maybe we need to try and run the ball a little bit. We need to soften that defense. We can't let that defensive line, they're going to be confident, just think they're just going to bull rush over us and stop us. So we need to pound them so we can shorten the game, limit the amount of possessions that Philly's offense has, and which is the game plan from last year.
Yeah, for me, I go with the heartbeat of our team. You know, the heartbeat of our team is that D line, those 4 D linemen. They got to play extraordinary. They got to play superb in this ball game. We know what your line is. We know what your offense can be, but our defense has to get you guys off of out of whack. We got to sit there and disrupt that whole thing, get you guys behind the chains, and start getting you second and third and longs in that ball game, and give our offense more opportunities. So, what you got for the second one, Jeremy?
I would say my second key to victory is going to be our secondary, because I do believe our D line, they are what they are, and they can be fresh. They've got such a leader in Fletcher Cox. That's the key right there. Is you've got Kelsey leading the offensive line, you've got Fletcher Cox leading that defensive line. That was another Howie Roseman win. So you've got those key leaders. So that's good there. But our secondary has to be able to not allow you guys to soften us up. And then all of a sudden, boom, 3rd and 6, you're getting that, or 3rd and 2, you're putting off that quick little, you guys are, I feel like, really good at those quick slot, those that get, and that's where you guys get into teams' heads, is that you just keep getting that first down. And it just defeats someone. So I think it's our secondary not allowing us to be – I don't want to see 13 play drives. Like if you're going to score in 3 plays, don't give us those 13 play drives. Don't eat up most of the clock. I need our secondary to step up and to create some chaos with turnovers. That, to me, is the second key.
I like that. All right, Will, what's your second one?
Yeah, so I'm going to kind of piggyback on a little bit of what he's saying. So this segment's working out really well with what you're saying. And I'm going to stick to the Commanders' offense and the fact that Ron Rivera said last week against Buffalo it was a statement game. Actually, this is your statement game on offense to see, can you rebound? Eric Bieniemy, can you come up with a better game plan that puts your quarterback in a situation for him to be successful? And are you going to change some of the calls so he's not sitting there waiting on guys running middle to deep routes to get open, which is his struggle right now for the offensive line to block it and for him to go through his reads. So I want to, my key is don't let the rush happen. Okay. Get short throws for Sam. Get the ball out of his hands quickly, to what Jeremy just said, with some slants and stuff, and get the ball out quickly so that these defensive linemen don't have a chance to penetrate. Move the pocket. Yeah. We saw in Buffalo early on, they rolled Sam right and he threw it to Terry McLaurin. I understand you're taking away half the field, but I also want to point out that you're taking away those defenders on that side. Said you're not getting to him. You're not a part of this play. We're going the opposite way of where you are. And so I think it's important to not be – you can't just do a 5-step, 7-step drop and just let Sam wait and give those guys a chance to penetrate him. I want to see us utilize our screens. We focused so much on that in the offseason, and we worked on that, and it worked in Denver. And you've got guys like Gibson, who is a great – weapon in the screen game. Let's utilize some of that. Brian Robinson did really well against Denver. That's also going to take the pressure off the pass rush. And this is the part I don't know, but so far in Philly's 3 wins, they've also given up over 300 yards to Mac Jones and Kirk Cousins. All right. Kirk's got, a great weapon there with Justin Jefferson, but they've given up passing yards. So how? What did those teams do? What type of routes and concepts got guys open? Let's mimic that and go after these corners in the secondary.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And my last one is complementary football. Special team needs to help. Hey, I do every week. Every week, hey, complimentary football. What we needed. Our offense needs to not put our defense in terrible situations like in the Buffalo game. Our defense needs to be able to get off the field and give our offense more opportunities. But even more than both of those, our special teams needs to play big, which means Sly needs to make his kicks because he's missed a couple this year. We know he's got a leg, but he can definitely miss them. Tress Way, in my opinion, is one of the best punters in the league. Will and I have always said, even when we had the worst times here in Washington, he was our MVP because the guy comes out and plays. One of the stats I always say to Will is we got to get to a game where our quarterback has more yards than our punter, because our punter seems to have more yards all the time.
Well, really quick, I would say your punter gets a lot of practice. That's not fair.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
He does. I'll just play.
That's the problem.
I'll just
There you go. Okay.
Man, I really like that though. I like what you're saying because I go back to and think how defeated does a defense feel or special teams feel when like we forced the Vikings to muff the ball we forced 2 fumbles and an interception and we didn't capitalize on a single one of those. Right. I love the way you put that, and that's a great key. I hope it doesn't come true for you, but that's a great key.
Right.
But look, hey, and shout out to you. Those are our keys to victory. But let's go back into the NFC East. Let's talk about the Giants. Let's talk about the crappy Cowboys and how they lost to the Cardinals. I'm going to say that multiple times. But let's dive into that because things are a little bit different than they were last year.
Yeah. Man, the NFC East is a powerhouse. Mm-hmm. Yes, we're going to talk junk about Dallas, but dang, have they not. Like, when they came out, I mean, I looked at Daniel Jones that first game, and I literally thought he had just read like 3 Goosebumps books, and he was 7 years old, and his parents said, you got to cut the light off and go to bed. Dude, he looked terrified. Like, he was so confused where he was. Dallas, as hard as it is for me to say, because I go work out every morning with a Dallas fan, they are a team this year. And that scares me because I never in my life want to experience Dallas winning a Super Bowl with the way their fans are, okay? Right. So it is terrifying to me. You guys have a team this year. Like, it's easy when you're your fan to sometimes get way up and sometimes get way down. But, like, from the outside looking in, you guys have a phenomenal team. The Giants are that team that and us, honestly, even though we're 3-0, any one of us could be 3-0, okay? All of the teams in the NFC, in my opinion, except for the Giants right now because they've had to come back so heroically or just drop it all. But, like, you guys could easily be 3-0 and everyone's talking about you. We could. Dallas honestly could be, okay? But the thing is, though, is, man, like, I love it when our division is on fire like this because we're going to play each other all 2 times. You better bring your A game. Yes. You best bet you're going to be ready for the playoffs. I wouldn't want to be in a rinky-dink division where, like you're getting all these cupcake wins because you're not going to be ready for it. I love when our division is hitting at all cylinders. And I really think this year we might be 3-0, but it's anyone's ball game. I could see 3 of us in the playoffs again.
Oh, yeah. It could happen. I think you're kind of kind by saying that just because you're 3-0, anyone can. I mean, I think the rest of the division would almost kind of concede that Philly is definitely the best of all of them. I think it'll be interesting to see with Dallas because they've gotten a couple injuries that are hurting them. But right now, on paper, Dallas looks like they should be really good. And then what they've shown on the field right now is that they're kind of a fraud based on who they've played. But that could all change. It's the very first part of the season.
Yeah.
For me with the Giants, man, I'm honestly sitting there like, I want to quote Denny Green. They are who we thought we were. It's Daniel Jones coming back to life. It's who are their wide receivers right now? It's like Saquon Barkley's hurt yet again. I'm like, how did they win all these games last year? I couldn't. I got so frustrated when we tied and then lost to them. And I was like, how is this team? Like, they're not better than us. How is this happening? Mm-hmm. So I'm glad to see them kind of come back down because I didn't understand it last year.
Yeah.
Now I do have to remind us all that there was a year during the pandemic where the Giants did start absolutely atrocious. Somehow turned it back around. I saw the first game and I absolutely was laughing my butt off, and be honest with you. The fact that the Giants were getting skunked so bad, not the fact that the Cowboys looked as amazing as you said.
Week 1 was good.
Yeah, but then
I cried because I was winning my fantasy football game by 39 points, and the Dallas defense scored 42 points. Okay, so I literally lost to a Dallas fan.
Yeah,
been there
and he literally had conceded earlier that day. Jeremy, I lost. Dallas. Yeah. So for me, It was pretty, but I was like, surely I went to sleep in like the third quarter. I was like, surely Dak will get a few points. Surely the Giants will score. I woke up the next morning. I was like, what the flip, dude? Are you kidding me? Like, could you imagine being a Dallas fan all offseason and you're just, I mean, not a Dallas fan, but a Giants fan, and you're just like, it's football night. Yeah, I have a few guys that go to my church. They were like, you guys get ready. It's going down tonight. I was like, I heard crickets. Boy, I don't even think the crickets were talking. They were like, nope, I'm good. Right? Yeah, I'll tell you what.
But like you said, Jeremy, and I love what you said, is that we are back. This division is back. I mean, people, they called us the NFC least a couple years ago, and it was absolutely ridiculous, but we were all bad that year. Yeah. I love that we're getting back to those teams in the 80s, those teams in the early 90s that were just absolutely amazing, where we would beat each other up, but once we got to the playoffs, nobody else even stood a chance because we have been, bloodying each other and beating each other down. Exactly. So I love that. I love that this is like that. And I could see three of us getting into the playoffs. Which three? Yeah, we'll see. But I'm excited for this year.
Well, the one thing I'll say about the Eagles that gives me hope is that we were extremely unfortunate to play Bill Belichick the first week of the season. Because let's just be honest, Bill Belichick is a master of the craft. And so I believe that in that game, he uncovered a few of our weaknesses, and other teams have been exploiting that. I promise you the Commanders are going back and they're watching week 2 and they're watching week 3, but everyone's watching week 1 because that's what Bill Belichick's so good at. He's so good at halftime. You think it's in the bag, and all of a sudden he's just a master of the game. He really is, as much as I hate to say it. But when you play them early in the season, you almost shoot yourself in the foot. So that's the grace that I give us right now. Yes, we're 3-0. Yes, we're not playing the best football I've ever played, but we went up against Bill Belichick week 1. Everybody's been watching what's going on there, and so it's just taking a little time to adjust. And so that's what I'm holding on to, why we're not firing on all cylinders yet, in my opinion, is that he uncovered a few weaknesses, and now we're having to figure out how do we cover these things up.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, look, we before we go, we did not do the score predictions.
Oh yeah.
So let's go ahead and get into that. Jeremy, we will start with you. What's your prediction for the score in this game this week?
Okay. So Eagles are averaging about 28 points a game. You guys are averaging about 19 points a game. And so the score that I wrote down is actually not far from that. I've got, in my opinion, I think it's going to be something like 31-21. Excuse me, not. I think it's going to be something like probably, something around that range is what I'm thinking. I'm going to say 31-21.
Ooh, I can see that. Will, what you think, man?
Okay. I've got 27-16 Philly. Go with we're going to go 2-2.
Yeah.
I appreciate I appreciate that. Like, you're just being honest.
Yeah. Look, well, hey, I'm not far off from it. We're very honest on this show. Look, I said 31-17. I think it's going to be like 17-17 into the fourth. And then it's just going to be a dumb turnover. It's going to be a penalty that's going to
Sam Howell interception.
Huh?
A Sam Howell interception?
No. It's going to be probably a Gibson fumble. Yeah. Howell learned from his mistakes. All right.
Yeah.
And let's hope.
I tell you what, I like you guys. I don't care what everybody says about you. You're all right in my book after those predictions.
You try.
Well, look, I mean, I started my total football season off the right way in Charlotte. So.
Hey, I understand. Listen, I cried myself to sleep that night.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Football. Who cares about football? Okay.
Right. It's all good. Your boy Will set me up. He was like, "Hey, I'll get the tickets." So I'm out here in my light blue, bright powder blue walking in. I turn up to go up the steps to go see where we're sitting, and I just see a host of Garnet just stare down at me.
Gosh. You almost got it, but golly. I tell you guys what, it's been an absolute pleasure hanging out there. You really do have a great show. I think that you guys you're tried and true fans. And I want to ask you one question before I leave, because I've never experienced this. What's it like when your team goes through an identity crisis? I mean, I'm not talking about in a joking way. I'm not like I just like I've always thought about what happens when your team gets up and moves to another state, and now all of a sudden it's like, wait, what? I've never experienced anything like this. So like, what now people are suing because they're not the Redskins, and you've got all this, that, and the other. To me, they're always the Redskins. Like that's just like the way it is. Like I just want to honestly ask, and I know we're probably running out of time, or you guys have something else you want to do, but I just want to honestly ask, like, where's your heart on that? Where are you guys in that whole world of thought?
Go ahead, Will.
It's a very challenging perspective because Sean and I are Redskins fans.
Yes.
We
tried and true.
Would like to see the logo. We would rather see the name. Like we would rather it be the way it was when we grew up, because we also grew up with some wonderful memories with our family, with friends. Sean and I went to games all the time in high school. And so there's memories that we think of. But yet we also want to be understanding of 2023 and what is, what could be offensive. I think there's a lot of complexities that go into that. And so it's hard to say the word Commanders. It's hard to wear this hat with this logo that I don't think looks very good. So you could also, you see different jerseys out there. It's not easy, but I also try and take a further step back of like, it is football. It is entertainment. It's still the team from Washington. So I'm going to have some type of rooted interest in them, but they are not the team that I grew up with right now. This is an expansion team is how I view it. And it's hard for like, my boys wear Redskin jerseys and they look so dang cute in them wearing them. And I can play Hail to the Redskins, but it's not the same because they're never going to experience that themselves. So it is challenging, and it's challenging for personal reasons that aren't, it's a sports team, but it's difficult. Sure. It's very difficult. Sean, I'll let you chime in.
It's frustrating. It's like an ex-girl that you had. You had her for years. You had great memories together and everything, and you broke up. But you're trying to, we're get with this girl, and everybody is trying to resemble it, but nobody has been anywhere near it. And it's just like you're sitting back and you're trying to think about those good old days and like Will said, tell people about, man, if you would have been around during this time, if you would have seen what we went through, it's great. And then the other part is that a lot of what we've had to deal with it's been kind of out in the open. You know what I mean? If a team goes to another city or something like that, okay, that they have to deal with those type of things, but we've had to deal with an owner that has been outright trying to sabotage and do all this crazy stuff. You know what I mean? We're changing the names, trying to figure out who we are. You know what I mean? And then at the end of the day, none of that would matter if we were winning. But we weren't winning. And it was ugly. All the different quarterbacks, all the stuff that went on. And I mean, year after year, one of the reasons why Will and I started to do the show is because it's therapy. Let's be very honest. We needed
sure.
We needed to be able to talk about that. It definitely has not been easy. It's been very, very frustrating. I may or may not look at the VHS tape of the 1988 Super Bowl once or twice a week. I don't know, but I'm just saying it is tough. It is tough because you wonder, you often think, is that going to be it? Like we all talk about, we never want to see a Cowboy Super Bowl, but at the same time, Washington hasn't been in the Super Bowl since around that time. The Giants have been to two. You guys have been to two. You know what I mean? Washington and Dallas haven't been to something since the early to mid 90s. And it's like, will we ever see that again? Was the only championship in Washington going to be a Redskins championship?
Right.
And, so it's a wait and see, but it's frustrating.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys' feedback on that because that's something from someone on the outside. Like, you almost hurt for, the fan base because you hear like, oh, well, now they're being sued because it's the Commanders and they might have to not be the Commanders. And it's like, I mean, what the hell? Like, you would think they'd pay people millions of dollars to let's
trademark
do this. Let's, you would think there would be like, I don't know, but like you said, it's a owner trying to sabotage. Like, it's just absolutely crazy. I was nervous whenever there was talks of Steve Bezos or whatever coming in and potentially. I was like, oh god, it's about to be the freaking Washington Prime Skins,
right?
Bezos and Jay-Z. They were partnering with Jay-Z.
Oh, dude, I was like, this is gonna be It's gonna be like freaking Prime over here. You guys are gonna be Colorado 2.0. So, but I appreciate you guys sharing that, man. And like I said, if there had to be another team that wasn't us in the East that was represented, I would say, well, I would like to see Washington there before the Giants.
Nicest Eagles fan I've ever met.
I got to tell you, man. I mean, I got to tell you, I kind of hated Philly Green before he came on, but I might put some on, man. I might get a Randall Cunningham jersey or something with Reggie White or something.
And so I'll tell you this,
it's hard not to love the Kelly Green, boys. It's hard not to love the Kelly Green.
Oh, yeah.
During the Eagles run last year, Jeremy was the only one that I would say nice things to about the Eagles. I'd be like, man, what a butt whooping that, last week. I love the way Jalen's playing. Like, because I would say nice things to him. Now, I got a couple other Eagles fans that I would tell him to shove it. But for Jeremy, I'd at least be like, hey, man, I'm pulling. They played well out there because nicest Eagles fan I've ever met.
Hey, look, at the end of the day, I was always through the years an Eagles guy. I never absolutely always hated Dallas.
I'm sorry, what?
Yes. Listen, I always you gotta hear me from this side. I always hated Dallas, and my father's from New York, so all my brothers are Giants fans. My older brother has a Giants, like a Ford F-150, and on the back bumper, it is a picture of Lawrence Taylor the moment before he breaks Joe Theismann's leg. So these are the things that I grew up with. Yeah. So it was always Deadskins. It was always watch the crap. So I always looked at the Eagles, and secretly, I'll say it on here. I wanted to get that Randall Cunningham, Rambling Randall, man. I mean, I wanted to get that Reggie White, the Wes Hopkins. Like, I love.
Hey, listen, if you're weird on your next show, I will send you some Eagles swag.
Not allowed.
You're gonna rock it.
You should veto it. He vetoed it. I can't. You said it. I'll take a picture. Yeah. As long as it's under lock,
I tell you what, this has been great. You see, when you're so nice, it's like, it's like actions speak louder than words. Yep. Not only do you do that in your life with your faith, but you also do that with your football team. Look at this. Right. We're having some. We're gonna do a Kelly Green bathtub full of little dunk here. You're gonna come up out and you're gonna be ready to roll. You're gonna be ready to win a Super Bowl.
Don't go that far.
I'm never invited on the show again. Come on, man.
Just like that,
man. I'm just playing, guys. Well, I hope you have a wonderful evening. I'll let you guys finish it off, man. But it's been so much fun hanging out with you guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us. October 29th is the rematch. So get the Wednesday before, get ready for Jeremy Powers Part 2.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
Hey, look,
bye, guys.
Also, I gotta talk to you. I gotta invite you, man. I see you got that Garnett. Will has jumped on. We have another show called Let's Talk College Football.
Okay.
My guy Alex Loosemore. We've been talking a lot of stuff, especially in that SEC. We were all on pins and needles when y'all were playing Georgia. I wasn't trying to mess with Will because I was like, I don't want to jinx it. it. You know what I mean? But hey, you are definitely more than welcome to come on there and talk. Spencer.
I would love to. Hey, Spencer Rattler, he's NFL stock along with Leggett. Yeah. Their NFL stock is just. Absolutely. If people want to talk smack about Spencer Rattler right now, they are insane.
Yes,
insane. Because with such a weak offensive line and his. I'm telling you, I think he is being absolutely underappreciated for what he's doing right now. And I'm telling you that's awesome that you guys have that going on. And I'll definitely look to do that and look to join you guys and have some fun. I'm never going to turn down some football fun.
There's a reason why I'm not getting too mad when Sam Howell struggles with sacks.
Wow. Right here.
Go get Spencer Rattler next year. We'll just trade him in for somebody else.
Dude, there we go.
Carolina's about to be QBU. All right, let's just go.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Jeremy. Man, you were awesome.
Hey, later, guys.
Appreciate
it, guys. Have a good one.
You too. Yeah, buddy. Yo, shout out to Jeremy Powers hopping on here talking Philly. Will, hey, you haven't steered me wrong. You have not lied to me. He was the nicest Eagles fan I have ever met in my life. All right, I want to go out and have dinner with this guy, man. This guy's a winner, man. I like him.
Dun, 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 dun.
Let's go. The Washington Commanders. There it is.